Foster. Early March. Snap out of it, pretty boy. We've got a job to do. 80-year-old female with chest pains. Barbara Lyons. Addresses just south of Killigan's Point. Meredith clipped the cell phone/pager onto her belt and stood to grab her jacket. Foster shot a glare at his EMT partner as he closed his e-reader and stood up from the break room table, hurriedly pulling on his jacket as well. "Really, Meredith?" "Yeah," she said as she grabbed the keys to their rig. "I'm betting $20 Barbara Lyons says something about your face." "Don't you have anything else to worry about?" "Retirement? The state of the stock market?" Foster complained. He was speaking to Meredith's back, since she was already pushing through the door to where the ambulance was parked outside the hospital. Foster and Meredith had been work partners for coming up on 4 years. Before Meredith arrived on the island, Foster had been subjected to several partners, most of whom were incompetent, lacked dedication, had personalities not suited to Piedras, or all of the above. Foster enjoyed working with Meredith, even if she called him pretty boy. "Nope, and the only way I'm ever going to retire is if I pad my accounts with a little extra." Outside it was a typical late winter day, gloomy and damp, but Foster never minded the weather. Even if he could have moved, he'd never wanted to live anywhere but Piedras Island. Why would he want to live someplace else, where he'd have to travel hours to get to the water, to a place with limited access to the rocky, barnacle-covered beaches he loved, strewn with kelp and other seaweed, where he could see fish as they leaped from the cold waters of Haro Strait, and where he couldn't smell the mixture of pine trees and ocean water that permeated everything here? Almost every day Foster heard the cries of eagles as they hunted, mingling with the cranky, raspy caw of Steller's jays. He relished the taste of salt on the ever-present wind. He'd seen J-pod orcas cruise through the bay more times than he could remember. During the tourist season, things could get a little hairy. Ferry traffic was hell, for one thing. But the quiet months were worth dealing with a few obnoxious visitors, and most visitors weren't obnoxious. Most people came to the island for the same reason Foster stayed there: peace. "I'm never retiring. Becca applied to college, and she got in." Meredith jogged to the driver's side of the vehicle. Foster climbed into the shotgun seat and buckled in. She shot him an understanding look. "Congratulations. That's great for her. But I thought you'd sworn she was never leaving the island." The closest post-high school campus to Piedras was on the mainland, just outside of Mount Vernon, and it wasn't the one Becca had chosen. Of course it wasn't. Meredith expertly backed the rig out of its spot and steered it toward the island's main north-south road. "Becca has proved to be incredibly stubborn. I don't know where she gets that from." Meredith snorted. Foster eyed her, but she didn't reply and kept her focus on the road ahead of them. He wasn't stubborn. Was he? "Oh, my. Aren't you a treat for sore eyes?" Mrs. Lyons murmured, her words hard to hear through the mask covering her nose and mouth. Foster kept his attention on the older woman, but he was fully aware Meredith hadn't missed the comment. "Damn it. You just relax and let's see if we can't get your oxygen levels a little better. My partner talked to Dr. Soper, and he wants us to bring you in, so you get to ride in the bus. As long as you hold my hand, I don't mind where we go." Foster felt his cheeks heat. He never knew what to do when people flirted like this, but as Meredith had pointed out, it happened all the time, so he did his best to pretend it didn't bother him. He glanced up, meeting Meredith's amused gaze across the gurney. Mrs. Lyons' daughter and granddaughter hovered in the background, wringing their hands and tisking. The other birthday party guests had faded into the background, giving Foster and Meredith room to work.